I have looked at the Epstein files that came from Donald Trump's the Department of Justice last Friday many times. I want to use this video to talk to you all about quotes from the Epstein files about Vladimir Putin and Russia, Russian oligarchs and their ties, that those references have to the first Trump administration and the present Trump government. I don't want to be secretive. I just want to leave sharing with you what's in the emails, the texts, and the reports, and you can choose for you. Just a reminder, last Friday, more than 3 million records from the Donald made the Epstein files, the Department of Justice under Trump. But that was merely a small part of the production. There are 3 million or more papers that Donald Trump has not made these things Department of Justice, and that would equal approximately 25 million to 50 million pages in those documents that haven't not been made. And I believe that, based on my experience as a litigant in the past, is because those papers are much more worse than what has been made. But there have been big news stories in what has been made. And when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein's ties to Epstein, is mentioned as Vladimir Putin. The FBI is looking into Vladimir Putin's money manager. Reports from secret sources. Jeffrey Epstein and others have sent emails to each other, and leaders of the world, such the former Norway's former prime minister, the minister of Israel, and other world leaders talking about talks between Putin and Epstein. There are many mentions of Epstein meeting with other rich Russians. And I just want to talk to you about what is said in these emails, and you can decide for you. The first reference that I saw in the Epstein files, this is what I have to say about Epstein and Putin. This email is from November 8th, 2010. It's an email from Jeffrey Epstein to another email address that states, "Do I need a visa? I have a pal who Putin's. Should I ask him?" And then there is this reference right here, May, from Jeffrey Epstein to Ehud on the 21st of 2013, Ehud Barak, who used to be the former prime minister of Israel, Israel's defense minister, who was a top business executive in Israel, got in touch to the military there. And what Jeffrey Epstein remarked on May the 21st of 2013, Putin asked, writes Epstein, that I meet him in St. Petersburg at the same time as his financial. I told him no at the conference. If he wants to meet, he will need to set aside actual time and space. Let's see what. Now, there are a lot of pictures of Epstein in Russia with Russia stuff, him and Ghislaine Maxwell in Russian gear. We see those in the gear together, files. But then you got this email, right? This is September 11th, 2011, from an unknown account to Jeffrey Epstein. It refers to a person called Igor. And Igor, who is close to, and this is what this person said to Putin, said to Jeffrey Epstein, talk to Igor. He mentioned that the last time you were in Palm, you told him you had an appointment in Beach, meeting with Putin on September 16th, and that he may book his ticket to Russia that should arrive in a few days before you. He also checked into safety in Sochi for you. He said he would do it anyway. Will still have to fly to Russia tomorrow, must get his Russian passport in order, which ends at the end of September. So he will still fly back to New York on the 19th. He will be glad to go back to, you can go to Russia with you on September 26th if you, and then the Epstein files that were, this message from was sent out in the release. Epstein to a person whose name is censored. The subject is that he was passed. And as Dominic Trippi says, newly disclosed Epstein papers show talks about the strange death of a supposed intelligence asset, Robert Maxwell. That's Ghislaine Maxwell's father, who Epstein said was dead for endangering the MSID. And Maxwell was a business person in the United Kingdom who took part in all of this fraud. And he supposedly died when he was on his yacht, which he called the Ghislaine, is the one who was peeing narrative off the edge of the boat, and then he fell and drowned. Okay, here Epstein says this is what happened. He sent an email on March 15, 2018. Robert Maxwell threatened to kill MSAD, and of course the MSAD is the intelligence agency of Israel. And here what Epstein says happened. He said, H informed them that if they didn't give him 400 million pounds to preserve his, he would show everyone what he had done for his failing empire, had done for them, the MSAD, in that he could see Margaret whenever he wanted at that point. Ronald Thatcher's Downing Street. The Kremlin saw Reagan's White House as into the halls of power all throughout Europe. Maxwell told everyone he told Mossad in Tel Aviv all the secrets he knew. Because of this, people put up with his indulgences, vanity and an insatiable need for women and a life of luxury. He said his controllers who they should go after and what they should do. He chose himself as Israel's unofficial, as an ambassador to the Soviet bloc, and that's what Epstein knew about Gillian's father and the people he knew with the Soviet Union there too. After that, the FBI sent out this report where an informant for the FBI called Epstein the person in charge of Putin's money. Here it is, what the FBI report states. In November, this is Special Agent on the 27th of 2017, censored, and a special agent met with a confidential human source that the FBI has lately set up a relationship. The CHS said that after that, Jeffrey Epstein had a place in New Mexico where he lured and filmed women that were underage. He also had an island only for you. Epstein was the president, Putin's wealth manager, and gave the same service to Zimbabwe and President Robert Mugabe. Epstein had any link to, then it continues on to say the MIT lab that was talked about there as a secret source for the FBI as being Putin's financial advisor. On the 18th of March, the day when Vladimir Putin stated that Russia has taken over Crimea, Epstein sent an email to the French financier Ariane de Rothschild to say the unrest in Ukraine should give many lots of chances. And as you can see, they said he was Putin's money manager. He was talking about getting together with Putin in 2011. He was talking then that there would be many chances because Crimea was taken over. But let's stay here and finish reading. There was a meeting on June 24th, Epstein, in 2018. There is an email right here with other highly important folks talking about a meeting. And the emails between Jagland and Jeffrey Epstein Thorban. So who is Jagland Thorban, or Thorban Jagland used to be the Prime Minister of Norway, the Prime Minister. He was also General Secretary of the Council of Europe from 2009 until 2019. He's also foreign, or was in charge of foreign affairs, Norwegian minister as well. So someone has a really broad portfolio, and they were the kinds of individuals Epstein was talking to. Former prime ministers, past world leaders, and world leaders back then. And this is what it says. Epstein says, I think you might tell Putin that Lavrov can obtain, conversing with me, gave Vitaly Charin insight. He used to, then he died. What is Epstein talking about now? So he's talking to the ex-prime minister, Norway's minister, who meets with Putin, and he's saying that Putin and that Lavrov can come and talk to me. You probably know that Lavrov is Putin's main advisor. He's the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Russia. He was the guy who wore the USSR shirt when he met Donald Trump in August, and he got an invitation from Trump to the White House right away. People forget the first state visit. This to the first Trump administration. Sergei was in the White House in 2017, Lavrov and Kislyak. And don't forget, Donald Trump handed them secret information that was found, and Trump's like, well, when you're the A's president, you can offer people secret information. And then you had Thorban Jagland say, I'll meet with Lavrov's aide on Monday. Thank you for a nice this. I'll talk to the UN in the evening, high-level week. Turkin was fantastic. He understood Trump after we talked. It's not hard. People must witness him get something. That's all there is to it. You know what's easier than mending an issue? Not having the difficulty in the first off. Your liver is one of the organs, that parts of your body that you don't think about till you must. One way to help is to do it every day. Of those little things that may make a big impact in how you feel overall. And that's where the dose comes in. Dose for your liver is a clinically proven liver, vitamin for health. This isn't simply another pill or powder. Dose is a supplement in liquid form. It's taken once a day. It tastes like a 2-ounce shot of freshly squeezed orange juice. Here's why. It matters. Your liver is your body's filter. It handles everything you ingest and takes care of more than 500 a day works, making energy, digesting, storing vitamins, and breaking down fat. When you can tell when your liver is working too hard, Dose helps get rid of things in the liver that it doesn't need, things that are stressing you out that could be slowing down your liver down, and it helps the liver work every day. Function so that your liver can do its work. No sugar, no junk, no calories. And when you take your dose every day, you're going to feel less sluggish and get rid of those crashes in the middle of the day, support your metabolism and even help you get through the day. Digestion. Also, this is the real thing. There are 2 double-blind placebos, studies that show doses good effect on liver enzyme levels. Are you ready to give your liver the help it needs? Go to dosedaily.co Midas or type in Midas to get 35% off your first subscription. Your body does a lot for you. Let's do something about it. That's dosedaili.co Minidas, MEIDAS, for 35% off your first month subscription. Vitaly Churkin was now someone who died of a heart attack for no known reason attack in New York in 2017, and a lot of people think he was poisoned. That was how he died. So that's some of the links, and there was a time when a lot of people were dying by Russian diplomats with strange heart attacks who it looked like Putin was poisoning them. You also have emails from Epstein says he wants to help Putin, should change the way money works. This is another email from Thorben Jagland, or an email to Thorben Jagland from Jeffrey Epstein dated May 14th, 2013. Okay, you can tell him that he had investors to Sochi last year, and this year St. Petersburg is planned for this year again. Petersburg on the 20th of June. It doesn't work. It's not the right shape or ideas that are big enough. He is in a special, able to do something big, like Sputnik started the space race. You can tell him that you and I are close, and that I tell Gates. This is private. I would love to meet him, but only for 2 to 3, not shorter than hours. Then there were meetings on the 7th of October, 2016. That happened right here. Epstein's puts his girlfriend Kariana in charge of Shulak, is in charge of a big lunch. Between Vitaly, Epstein, and Peter Thiel. Churkin was the Russian ambassador before, and close friend of Putin, who would die in New York in a strange way a year afterwards. Thiel had recently gone against all of Silicon Valley by supporting Trump at the RNC in a speech that made headlines. The next day, Epstein sends Thiel an email with a link to John WikiLeaks has hacked emails from Podesta. Podesta was Clinton's most important advisor. And then it looks like there is an email that led to the lunch with Churk and Thiel Epstein being planned, which isn't as important the way Epstein pitches a meeting. Churkin to Thiel, most of the time the Russian ambassador involved, he and Sergei Lavrov are in charge. What was the purpose of that meeting? What went on there? But we know that soon. After that, Russia breaks into the DNC. The WikiLeaks gets emails. Donald Trump has asked people to do this before. Emails should be made public. That's what we know happens. Then you have Epstein talk to Peter Thiel on June 26, 2016, saying that Brexit was only the start again. Brexit in the UK pulled the UK out of the EU, of the European Union, saying just the start is right there. That was June 26, 2016. That was actually before the election of Donald Trump in the first government. There's other things that say Putin wants to meet Epstein in 2013, writing by Epstein to Ehud Barak. Putin told me to meet with him in St. Petersburg the same time as his meeting on the economy. I told him. We talked about meeting if he wants to. We've talked about that one before. So here was Epstein's advisor is writing to him in 2014 to learn more about Alexander Dugin, Putin's advisor, who said that it might be interesting and maybe even very helpful. So it's from Epstein to someone, and this is what it says this is what someone wrote to him. I just came back to the island. I had what a great day. Skydiving and scuba diving are crazy. Diving and skydiving with the girls. Thanks you. Thanks. Want you to be here, and this wonderful day could be shared with you. How did your meeting go? Are you okay? Many hugs. P.S. I looked up some movies we can watch when you are back. Have you ever heard of Putin's advisor, Alexander Dugin Advisors? If not, reading about him and his ideas could be interesting and maybe very helpful. As Peter Jukes writes, that Bannon wasn't just getting advice and helped by Epstein. He was also, it looks like they are working as a strategic advisor, either officially or unofficially, for Ehud Barak, who was in charge of meetings with Putin. So here's what it's right here. And these messages, let's just go and check them out. We are ready for Nome on Saturday. Have you told him that we are getting ready for Nope? He would be on board. That's right. Should I ask? Simple for me. Yes, I could if you asked. Sure. Ehud is in Israel, and I'm dealing with them. And Israel is driving me crazy. Ehud. Huge. Can we tell everyone I'm his strategic advisor? This will be a long campaign. There will be elections on September 17th. A lot of talk about it. This is a great idea. Next is May 15th, 2013. Epstein's Google Calendar says to get ready for the Putin paper when people said he was meeting with Putin. This email says, from Epstein to Joito, a wealthy Japanese Reid Hoffman, a business person, is CC'd. It says, hey, Jeffrey, I couldn't do it. Get Reid to change his schedule to go meet with Putin. This email is the 20th of July, 2014. Joy signed. This is a message from Thorben Jaglin saying, I've been busy all day. Just got out of a meeting with President Abbas to Putin in December. Talk to Lavrov about the details tomorrow. I'm sorry, but I'm busy tonight. And Epstein wrote to him before that. When will you meet with Putin? Are you free for an hour or so around 8 tonight to visit Tom Pritzker? Then there are messages back and forth between Sultan bin Soliam and Jeffrey Epstein, with the subject being Putin. And Sultan bin Salam are two of the richest people in the United Arab Emirates who were very close to Putin. And again, these are these aren't just random thoughts of Epstein bragging to random people about Putin. He's talking to world leaders who are like the richest person in the UAE, the old prime minister of Israel, the ex-prime minister of Norway. That's who he is talking about, having these talks about. They were also talking about these possible meetings with Putin, but then Russia had the terrorist attack on the plane, and the world was very angry. And Epstein says that it's not a good time to meet with Putin because of the plane crash that happened. Put it right there. I mean, you go through more of these messages right over here. From January 13, 2019, Nicholas Ribas to Jeffrey Epstein. It's Russia and money Putin is using. Here's another message right here. This is January 19th, 2014, from Thorben Jaglin to Epstein. Hi, Jeffrey. I'm in Davos next week. Why don't you come? Ter is also coming. I'm going to Sochi and meet with Putin. We should start planning Easter. Are you still prepared to receive us? And then Epstein goes, you can explain to Putin that there should be a sophisticated Russian version of Bitcoin. It would be the most advanced financial instrument available on a global basis. By the way, they're talking about this in Bitcoin in 2014, I might add. You have Jeffrey Epstein asking in October of 2010, did you have Putin on your boat? Epstein to Thorben Jaglin, I still would like to meet Putin and talk economy. I'd really appreciate your assistance. July 30th of 2015, October 27th, October 17, 2017, talk to Putin, read digital currencies. The future, June 19th, 2018, June 17, 2018, from Thorben Jaglin to Epstein. Hi, Jeffrey Turge invited me to come to you in Paris. Can you confirm it? It's the same procedure as last time that I can stay with you. Promise to make nice or ruin you. Coming directly from Moscow, meeting with Putin, Lavrov, and Medvedev. Yes, of course. Steve Candlett, a trip to Europe. I mean, they're talking about Putin meetings at the highest level right here. Let's go look at a few more, shall we? You have Peter Mandelson, who was the former UK ambassador to the United States. He's since been fired because he's all over the Epstein files. He and Epstein are saying the following. This is from Epstein to Lord Peter Mandelson. Can we put together for you the equivalent of a Putin-Medvedev deal? Choose someone who will be seen by your stand-in, run as a team, and the voters would be voting for you. There's also messages about interfering with other countries' elections like this, that Epstein's writing about Bolsonaro giving Steve a big boost. I love to meet Lavrov with you. I love Lavrov. Remind Steve about the invitation to come to Slovakia and meet Fico, and I'm reminding about some of you, plus Montenegro. Both he and I will come to Europe for November elections. And what they're talking about during this time period in 2018, Bolsonaro, who is the eventual insurrectionist, but he's the right-wing kind of MAGA guy in Brazil, putting Bolsonaro in power. They're talking about the prime minister of Slovakia. And we know through the messages that the prime minister of Slovakia's top foreign ministers were in touch with Epstein all of the time. And again, they're talking about manipulating elections. They're talking about high-level meetings with Putin all at the same time. This is August 29th, 2016. Again, this is all before the November 2016 election. I need to attend a meeting with Putin in Vladivostok Epstein to Sultan bin Soliam right there. And so you have all this activity. taking place, at the same time. I could keep going, but I think you get the point. So then Trump comes into office, the first administration. The first people who show up at the White House are Lavrov and Kislyak. And so Donald Trump's out there say, oh, Russia, 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 hoax. And then, of course, while all of these messages are happening right here, you have Epstein involved in all of these communications with Steve Bannon, with Elon Musk, with others who are now in the Trump administration. He has intimate familiarity, Epstein, with what's happening in the Trump administration. And so I'll let you form your own opinions about what went down leading up to the 2016 election, what happened there after Epstein's knowledge of what Putin may have known about the 2016 elections. But I mean, it's pretty clear. I'm just sticking with the emails, and you form your own opinions, okay? Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers, and thanks for watching. New Midas merch. Head to store.midestutch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.midestutch.com.